Please take a deep breath. Exhale. Please refresh our motivation. We are studying, practicing the precious Dharma, how to free from samsara and to achieve the enlightenment. That's our what's called optimal goal. That's our objective goal. So please reflect on this. So when we set this kind of goal, the final goal, then all what we describe about the samsara, this will help us to free from samsara. Because samsara is the place of confusion. It's the dimension of the confusion. It's nothing but state of suffering. Even today, I'm good, but I don't feel good this afternoon or tomorrow. If I feel good this year, but not next year. So it's just vicious cycle. Look at all the politics, business. Look at these. And then we have the Dharma, the Buddha's wisdom, you see. That's what it's about, see. As I mentioned, Buddha's wisdom is not a religion. It is just a way to reveal who we are. Our ultimate nature, see, is uncovering all these delusions that we have. So therefore, we need a lot of skills, understanding, which gives us such a kind of conviction. So this is the way, how do we do? So in terms of the samsara, you see, as we now discuss, very, it's called vicious, and it's like the whole of snake. It's like the pit of the fire. It's just burning. So that's why just relax first our mind, refresh. And then when we could connect to Buddha's mind, enlightenment, then step by step we can make it. There's a lot of like person say, like taking refuge. Taking refuge in the Buddha is such a first step, precious. Towards the enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, means I want to become Buddha. Then on above that, we take the precepts, 1 precept, 2 precepts, 5 precepts, more, whatever, Means, precepts means avoiding all the non-virtues, whatever we can, and accept all the virtuous and wholesome deeds. That's called precept, you see. It's not bound, it's binding. Some things people think, if I take precept, no, I don't like to take it because it is binding. It makes me limit. Actually, it's the way how to open the door towards the enlightenment. Then on above that, we take Bodhisattva's vow, the most precious. So this all we take step by step, you know, and we are so fortunate. Absolutely, you know, in this precious human life, you cannot get better than this kind of opportunity. Always appreciate. Sometimes our mind may be confused. Sometimes say you may think I cannot make it, or sometimes you may think I don't like it. But if you go around, there's no other alternative. See, that's what is very important. There's no alternative. If there is, of course, we take that. But there is not. So until we purify all the mental afflictions, we have to go forward step by step. You know? So that's what we're now here talking. I'm sharing some, you know. And this book is so precious, and of course it's so profound. So I'm trying just touching the surface, basic surface, you know. And those who can make it, so it's such a it's kind of like an inexpressible, you know, that how much benefit is there. See. So we have just touched the verse 36, now 37. No. 37 said, therefore in these lovely gleaming woods, with joy that's mirrored by few concern, where mental wandering will cease, I will remain in blissful solitude, you see. This all, as I mentioned, we have to get used to it. We have to adjust it. Mm-hmm. We have to see the disadvantage of the samsara and advantage of these practices. Then you see, the saying is, when you go to the mountain, is what is saying here, lovely, gleaming woods means such a fresh, no chemicals, no artificials, nothing but nature, pure nature in the woods. You know? Then he said, with joy that's mirrored by few concerns. So what you need, you just need a food to eat and mind to meditate. Otherwise, you don't need so much. What he's saying is contentment. You're content what you have. When you have contentment, we don't need so much. We don't need to concern so much. When we don't have the contentment, then we concern so much. Look at just in your a place where you keep all the supplements. There's so many supplements you see for headache, for eyes, for ear, for nose, for your tongue, for your teeth, for your stomach, and all this. The whole use is just completely filled. When you get flu, you have this, all you see. This all we are so concerned. And we are so attached to these things. But if you go to the mountain, we don't have that much concern. Totally free, you know. So that's, you see, with joy that's mirrored by few concerns, where mental wandering will cease. Because of that, when you don't have so much concern, then you don't need so much. And then all what you want is that these thoughts will cease to exist and mind will be calm. Like you see, look at the doorsteps inside. How many pairs of shoes you have? So many. Look at your closet. How many clothes you have? And actually how much you need. See, if you have 2 pairs is enough. One you wear, one that you wash, and you exchange that. How much you need? You have a hard time to choose which clothes you should wear today. You know? So like these things, what is saying here, you know? So reflect on this, meditate on this. You know? I will remain in blissful solitude. That's the real blissful solitude. When the mind is eased, relaxed, that's the greatest blissful peace, joy. See, you know? So look at this. Verse 38. Relinquish all others' aspiration, focusing myself on one intent alone. I will strive to still my mind and calming it to bring it to subjection. See here. Here, relinquishing all other aspiration means in this life, how to accumulate wealth and how to protect your families, how to, get rid of all the obstacles, enemies, the 8 worldly concerns. All these 8 worldly concerns, all what you need in this life. So relinquish. Make your mind free, say, Other aspirations, this you see. That's called, yeah. Then, here what it means, I focus myself on one intent alone means practicing bodhicitta. First, bring the mind in the right place. Samadhi. That's the first focus. Once you focus on that, samadhi, then practice the bodhicitta. That's what it means, one intent alone. See? And also what means to train the mind, training the mind. You know? With this, you see, I will strive to still my mind, means to come abide, to equipoise the mind, to relax the mind. See? And he said, and calming it, to bring it to subjection, means to training the mind. As I mentioned, our mind is so wild. It's so difficult to train. One time, Milarepa, so I should say this. Milarepa's one of the top disciples, Rinpoche, he was a little arrogant. In the meditation-wise, of course, Milarepa is, no one can compare. But in his scholarship, because he just went to India and studied Buddhist philosophy from some great teachers. So he developed a scholarship. So when he came back, he has some arrogance. So in the scholarship, I am little kind of better. In the practice-wise, of course, my teacher, So Milarepa directly came to know that Rinpoche has that problem. So to help that, Milarepa displayed many activities. Rinpoche was not so ready to accept this. And finally, Milarepa flew in the sky and gave some advice. See, if I die, this is my advice. If I live, this is my advice. So Milarepa disappeared. And then Rinpoche was very upset. And then Milarepa came back and then said, you see, our arrogance of the mind is very difficult to tame. He said, it is possible to bend the buffalo horn. It's possible to bend the old dry tree, but it's not possible to tame the mind. So like this, not so easy, So we have to understand this. So that's why I say, training the mind here, we have to see, make always effort. That's why I said diligence is needed. When everything goes well, you feel, oh, I'm a very good practitioner. Life is beautiful, good. But then if somebody comes, irritates the mind, no longer so good. So our mind is very easy to irritate. That means mind is not trained. See, need our mind as flexible as possible, that we need to train that has to train in the mountain, because you have full kind of freedom, you see. Then see where we are now. I think verse 39, sorry. In this and in the world to come, see, the desires, the parent of all woe. In this world, killing, bonds, and wounds. In the next, and in the next, the hells and other pains. So here, desire, here means desire to the wealth, desire to the people. See, so desire is such a mental affliction, very difficult to give up. Always something this, as I mentioned the other day, it's like the sticky glue, difficult to get rid of. So it says, all this, in this and the world, it means in this life and in the next life, in this and in the worlds to come, next life. Desires, the parent of all wounds, all source of all the suffering, basically. Source of all the suffering. Because of this life, because of the desire, attachment in this life, it's saying here, this world, killing, bonds, and wounds. See? In the business, like in the world, you see, in the politics, when desire, you have to sacrifice a lot of things. Then, at the end, you go to the jail because there are so many mistakes you made. And also desire to the people. So much these things happens. Like going to the war, fighting all these things you see. For example, when you compare with the aversion, hatred, and attachment, attachment has less power, and aversion has more negative. But without attachment, without the desire, there will be no aversion. See, just for example, this pain that I have, if I don't have attachment to this pain, if somebody takes away, it doesn't bother me so much. I say, okay, take it, enjoy it. But if I have attachment to this, this is mine. Nobody can touch. This is my belonging. Then if somebody touches this, just that moment, my anger arises. So why you're touching this pen? This is mine. You see? That's called interdependent, you see. Understand this interdependent policy, how it does. So as I mentioned, these teachings are nothing to the religions or belief system. It's reality check. So look at our own mind. Reflect on this, our own mind. So, killing, bound, bind, and cut, wounds. And then, because of this all reaction, mental afflictions, and the karma we make through these activities, next life we go to the hell realm, hungry ghost, animal realms. It's the reality. No, this is nothing's secret. As you sow, so shall you reap. It's it's you say eye to eye, So, what if I say, this all, in the Samsara, look at this. So when you use word karma, seems still mystical, karma, something bad things happens. This is your karma, Somehow, I don't know, that mentality, the system with karma, actually, this is an action that whatever we put, that becomes a cause to manifest the result. Everything is momentary, moment to moment. It's like an echo. When you shout in the mountain, then the sound comes back. So when you say hello, we'll say hello. Good day, we'll say good day, Bad days or bad days, it's just an echo. It's a reflection. It's a reflection of our mind, reflection of the cause that we created. So that's why if we cherish ourselves, if we need to take care, first need to care the karma. We create such a mask of negative karma to care this life, and actually we're destroying our life. So that's why we need wisdom. See, we need a critical insight how to take care of ourselves. So here's a talking, describing teachings, how to take care of ourselves. Not to doom in the suffering. So get out of this mud of this suffering. And in the next, the hell and other pains means, as mentioned, like in the hungry ghost, in the animal realms, even in the human realm, there are some human beings are like a hell realm. So much suffering is there. Very painful, So you see, samsara is a vicious cycle. Look at this. So he is describing the cause of the suffering. So this is the best opportunity we have to study this more thoroughly. You get very detailed information, you see. Otherwise, we just just touch the surface. Don't touch the detail. And just say, oh, be kind, nice, oh, good, you know. So, no. When there's some suffering comes, oh, it's okay. But not really looking through the root cause of suffering. So here, touching the root, you know, basic, the foundation of the suffering. So precious. So if you have time, energy, read these more and then reflect more. See? Then verse 40. Now here, more between, you know, as mentioned, desire between people to people here, you see. You send your go-between both boy and man with many invitation for the prize, avoiding in the quest no sin, no deed that brings an ill renown. So this you can say in the old time, the culture. In the country, they have different cultures. When they marry, first they want to invite their wife or husband. So there are a lot of different culture system there. Anyhow, even in modern time, the man is looking for wife. The wife is looking for husband. They are going from back and forth. Basically, lot of investigation, lot of thoughts, like, dislike, all these things. So you send your go-between both boy and man, with many invitations for the prize. So invitation means a lot of discussions, going back and forth. See? During this time, then you have no regard of the karma. You're just doomed into the delusion. See, avoiding in the quest, no sin, you see. You don't regard karma, right thing or not right thing. Totally just involve, sacrifice anything. Then you see, you don't regard your vows because you have this strong attachment, desire. You sacrifice anything. See? So there's and no need that all that brings an ill renown. Doesn't matter whatever people say, bad things about you, bad things to others. You're totally dedicated. Look at this in the mind. It's samsara, It's the culture of the samsara. Look at this in the mind. That is ingrained, the habit, deeply rooted, difficult to discard this. Well, sometimes they know it, but this mind that is so strong, it leaves us no freedom. So look at this. And then you see continues verse 41. Nor acts of frightful risk. So even there are some risk in your life, you just take it. Risk of anything, business, you take it. And you just know how much suffering is there. See. No loss and ruin of possession, you see. How much you have to spend the money between, you see, to please the other, to make others happy. Even if it ruins your life, you just go for that. You have to spend a lot of money, you got that. You got, Now, the all purposes, you see, all for the pleasure and perfect bliss. Here, perfect bliss is mentioned, translated. Perfect, I don't like that word. Maybe supreme bliss. When you say perfect, means no faults. Supreme is over joy, over bliss. Just for that, just for doing this. You're so attached to this. We're totally blind to this. So then he said, then he said, the utmost penetrating kiss. So for these things in the world, you can see everywhere. As I mentioned, it's not just one country. There are different ways of doing things, but basically for this. How much people go through the suffering. You cannot make law to these things. You may put some in the jail, doesn't help. So we need the Dharma, how to purify this, you see. You cannot order somebody, say, you can't do this. You cannot order. No. If you put in the jail, just physically put, but mind still active. So look at this. That's why Dharma is so precious. First, look at this. All the disadvantage of the suffering. And then Dharma teaches us how we can do about it. How to relieve our mind from this suffering. This is nothing to do with anything. It's all human beings. See? Then, verse 42, I said, not that what you are attached, a man to woman, woman to a man, all this, all this, what they say here, of what in truth is nothing but a heap of bones. If you investigate our body, it's just a heap of bones. Earlier, in the text mentioned, if you investigate the body, first skin, then flesh, then you see ligaments, then bones, then marrow. So then look at what essence is there. So there's nothing. There's no outside the object. There's nothing, no any essence to attach to. but it's our mental affliction. Mental ingrained this habit that brought us such great suffering. And that we have to take care, you see. This is, So you see, devoid of self, there's no self. If you investigate dust particle, there's nothing is independent. Without autonomy, there's no autonomy. There's no one whole thing. Is this the only object of desire and lust, you see? Sooner passed beyond all suffering, grief, saying, instead of so much involving there, why not you make effort to free from samsara? Why not you achieve the nirvana? And that will help us to free from samsara, achieve enlightenment. That will give us great joy. That is a perfect, you should say, the perfect joy. When the mind is free from all the delusions, and there's such great peace within, that peace is the bliss. It's called perfect bliss. Great joy. And that's what you should look for, is saying now here, I don't know if the translation makes that, but the meaning is that sooner pass beyond all suffering and grief. Otherwise, in the samsaric way, it's only suffering. No matter how much you try. So as I mentioned before, this we have to have such kind of perspective. Otherwise, we'll say, oh, this is all, as everybody say, ignorance, nature. Yes, it is the samsara. This is it. But that doesn't bring real happiness, peace. Okay, then. Verse 43, I guess, yes. And now this is more like Indian culture, I think. What pains you went to just to lift her face. In India, the woman, the face is more covered. So you make effort to lift the face cover. Went to just to lift her face. Her face that modestly looked down. She's kind of modestly looking down, covering. Then, which looked upon or not before, was always with the veil concealed. Always is the face is concealed with that cloth, piece of cloth, you see. Whether you have seen before or not, that all man, woman to man also. This we have to understand this here. Here more like say describing the about the woman, not so much man, because Shantideva's audience are monk, So he has to teach to the monks. Say, this is about the woman's nature. Now, if you are teaching to the woman, then you have to talk about the man's nature. So the woman will not attach so much to the man. So you see, You have to understand. Otherwise, oh, Shantideva doesn't like women, you know. It's not the point. That is not the point. The point here is mentioned, whether man or woman, both mental afflictions have to purify because they are cause of suffering. Okay. Now, verse 44. Now it's saying here, the face for which you languish souls. Here, languish means you're so attached to. You're so afflicted in this to see the face. Well, here it is now naked, exposed, means the dead person, man or woman, dead. Now in Asia, you know, as mentioned in the West, this is a little different. The West, you bury it or immediately you bury it or under the ground, not so much expose the body outside or cremated. Whereas in Asia, the body taken to the cemetery, general ground, giving to vultures like this. They say here. Now here it is cemetery, channel ground. His face is uncovered. Now here. Now look at this here saying, you know, see, language soul. Well, here is now naked, exposed. The vultures, you see, vultures have uncovered it for you to see. Now you come here, see it, if you attach or not. What is you run away so soon? You are just running away. Why you are running away? You wanted to see so much. Now it's here, you just look. So say, why you are so attached? You purify your attachment. There's nothing to attach. Actually, it is the body, what you want to see so much is now, when the body is actually here, you just want to run away. So why you are so much attached to it? Look at your mind, he's saying. Look at your mind. No, where's your attachment? Where your desire for? It's all just illusion. We need to purify, make the life better, more peaceful. Okay, then verse 45. Now it's continuing this. Here 45 said, that which once you jealously protected, shield from the eyes of others, man or woman. If it is if it's woman, if it's man, it's man, other woman. You should say, no? So once you're married or before you're married, you are so protective. If other man comes around and you don't want to share, if other woman comes, you don't want to share, you're so protective. You know? See, there's a shield from the eyes of others, other man or woman. Why misery? You don't want to share. It's so miserly, so miserable that you are. Don't you protect it? Now that it is the food of graveyard birds, you see. Now that what you are so protecting, finally, is the food for the bird. So we are protected for that. No? Right now, you are so much attached to that, protecting that. At the end of the day, the individual, man or woman, you or other, you'll die, and just like, buried under the ground, or cremated, or eaten by a bird. So that's the end. So where you are going through so much suffering about this. And then verse 46, look, this man's human flesh, is our flesh body, is now the fare of carrion bees, is the feast for the birds. So why you are so much cherished about this? And then he is saying, and you would deck with garlands, sandalwoods, and jewel, and you buy all the ornaments to your loved one, jewels, bring flowers, sandalwoods, all this, you're doing this out of attachment, desire. So then it is the food and preventer of others. This other means the birds, the vultures, and other animal will eat, or under the ground. So finally, that's the end, it's natural, and where you're doing all these things, you're so deluded, saying, just wake up from this, cultivate bodhicitta to benefit all the sentient beings. And why you don't do this? Yeah. So I think this is really good. Then verse 47 said, look again, this heap of bones, inert and dead. Why? What are you so scared of? When person is died, so generally at the end of people die, then no movements. So inert and dead, no movement, dead. Now that dead, you are so scared. So this is the dead body. You run away from that. It's just a heap of bone. Why did you not fear it when it walk around? When that person is alive, we are not afraid of. Just like a risen corpse propelled by some strange influence. Well, there's a life, walking around. It's like a zombie. But you are not afraid. But you are afraid when it's dead. Now this is like this is in Asia. When the bodies are taken to the cemetery, channel ground, And people are very afraid, so this is a dead body. You know, some church practitioners. Then there's a story, some not so confident in the church practice, that some individual went to channel ground at night, practice the church, and calling all the spirits and dead, So a friend of him, without knowing, just to tease him, wear a cloth on the head at night and quarreling on the ground. And then that church practitioner, he is beating drum stronger and hitting the bell stronger. And then he is coming closer, And finally he was so afraid, he left the drum and the bell just ran away, So, as I say here now, my point is here, we are afraid of the dead body so much. When dead body is around there somewhere, you can't sleep at night. They may come as a zombie, So saying, here, where you're afraid of the dead body, but not afraid when it's alive and walking like a zombie, This is so strange. Why did you not fear it when it walked round, just like a risen corpse, a zombie, profiled by some strange influence? See? So look at this, meditate, reflect your mind. Just, as I mentioned, don't take it personally, but investigate, meditate on this. In the Samsara, in the world, how these are happening. That way, it will help us to understand more. If you take personally, sometimes you may not like it. You may think it's a strange, a strange idea. But this is written in India, it's the Indian culture, and it became very popular in Tibet. Many teachers in Tibet, great Bodhisattvas, they love this text because it's penetrating our weakness, our mental weakness. What's there is penetrating that, introducing that nature. So we also should meditate like this, practice like this. Then, I think 48. You love it once when clothed and draped it was, and with good dress, just wearing the cloth well, and you love it. You have attachment. Well, now it is naked, means on the cemetery, on the channel ground. Why do you not want it? It's here, the body you like is now here, the man or woman. You say your need is no more there, so you don't want because your need is not there. Then say, but why did you embrace it, all bedecked and covered? So it's just saying you're so foolish, so stupid. You don't know how to engage your mind. You don't know how to think carefully. Okay. Then 49 says, from the food, a single source, same food, single source, come equally the body's filth and the nectar of the mouth. The filth, excrement, and all this body filth comes from the same food that you have eaten, you have taken. So while you are delighted to slava and yet repel by the excrement, it says you are so stupid. So that's what's called delusion, confusion, you see. We are so confused in the samsara through the ignorance, have no idea how to handle things. We're just doomed into the suffering. We don't want suffering, but we jump into the suffering. That's why in the beginning of this text mentioned there, sentient beings, they don't desire suffering, but they run after the suffering. They want peace and happiness, but they destroy them as if they were enemies due to ignorance. So this all, now it makes sense. When you study this step by step, then it makes sense now what it means. So study this slowly, digest and meditate. And as I mentioned, the main point is to cultivate bodhicitta. Look at the suffering of all the sentient beings. And they are craving the suffering. Even though they desire to free from suffering, the suffering is so much, so profound, so deep, difficult to get out of this because of this, you see. So these are things that we need to investigate, meditate on, see. Now, verse 50, verse 50 says, taking no delight in pillow made of cotton soft to touch. You claim the human form emits no strength. Be fooled by lust. Its filth you do not recognize. So this is very easy to understand now. Our pillow is made of cotton, so soft, so gentle, but we don't delight so much. But we attach to the person, who's the source of all this filth, but not recognizing. It's a very strange. Be fooled, see, and by lust. Be fooled by lust. It's filth you do not recognize. Then 51. Then there are some who have so much desire, attachment, he's saying. lustful ones be fiddled by desire, overpowered by the desire. Because you cannot copulate with it, you angrily find fault with cotton, soft though it may be to touch. You just throw away the pillow, with made of the cotton, because you cannot have the, we said, you cannot have the copulate. So look at this samsaric, our delusion. How much we're bewildered in the samsara. Then there's no teaching, see. So we think this is natural. Now when you receive the Buddha's teaching, who introduced these things, then you can see the suffering. All the problem in the world, you can see now precisely, you see. These are the things that are very important that we need to study, understand. Not just praying, chanting mantra, praying, may I achieve something, may I free from this, may this. Of course, prayers are good. What I'm saying is this is not enough. Have to go farther, deeper, and then practice and reduce and uproot our mental afflictions, which are the root cause of suffering. So here's it describing more and more detail, you see. And 52, okay, we finish 52 is good. And if you have no love of filth, how can you cuddle on your left? The cage of bones tied fast with the sinews, plastered, covered with the mud of flesh. Same, The bone, and then all these ligaments, all this, this sinew, and then with flesh and the skin, it's just like the, what is it, plastered over with the mud of flesh. So we're so attached to this. So you examine this way, meditate on this way, then there's no any essence to attach to. It's our habit. We're so habituated on this, so we need to reduce our habit. It's that the negative habits are the worst expel. So somebody expels you, you say some magicians, they expel you, isn't it? So this negative habit, this inveterate habit is the bad expel. Life after life. And to free from this, we have to practice Dharma. Reduce the attachment through these methods. And then we can help in the world so much. We can make the world better. Otherwise, if we introduce, as I mentioned, now all the advertisement in the world, all the advertisement is just to increase our attachment, our desire. Because if they are successful to increase our desire, attachment, there's more customers. And they can sell their products more successfully, you see. So look at this. Meditate. We need enough food, cloth, but how much we can need. Everybody is now interested in becoming millionaire, billionaire. How many billionaires are there? But how much problem is solved? Before we don't have millionaires, billionaires so much. We have enough. Not that much problem. Now the problem is becoming deeper. Difficult to get out of this. So look at this, meditate. I'm not saying totally do like this way, but there's a degree, step by step we take. That's why Buddha spoke so carefully. So, like as mentioned, precept. So you take first one precept, then two precepts, then four precepts, then 5 precepts, then 10, then more, slowly, you see. At the end, then you take all the precepts, means avoid all the cause of suffering. It's not just designed for monks and nuns. It's really designed for every sentient being who desire to free from suffering, desire to attain enlightenment. Because one, to become Buddha, you have to purify all the obscurations, no exception there. You cannot say, I am not monks and nuns, so I want to become Buddha, but I cannot take these precepts. How you can become Buddha? But as a measure, step by step, not overwhelmed all, but carefully just take it. Okay, we finish verse 52. Okay. Any questions?
Chen,
Yes.
which translation are you using?
I'm using this Pemakara translation.
Can you show the book?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. That still, I think, needs some polish, but this may be better. I think, I don't know, because I don't read so much English. That's why my English is very poor.
It works for me.
Okay. Just, I can communicate, that much. I don't have a very elegant English.
Thank you.
You have good English, Khenchen.
Excuse me?
You have good English.
I have to take English language?
No, you have good English. Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Maybe good, but could be better.
Mm. I'm studying Hindi.
You're studying Hindi?
Yes, aap kaise hai?
Okay, so I don't have to translate for you.
Hello, Lama.
Yes, Speaker Martin.
Nice to meet you again.
Yes, very good to meet you.
I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like many with many sides, But it's one question about last last topic about. Okay, from one side, can you tell something about relationship without attachment, sexuality without desire? Yes, and maybe I explain more what I want to ask. We in our Mahamudra transmission, we have this guru like Saraha and Ratnamati. They are at the beginning of the lineage. They have wives and they have relationships in their life. Before liberation and after realization, they have wives. Also, Marpa have a wife, and you know, we have a most important vow to see our mind pure, like Dharmakaya, and transparent, and all emotions are wisdoms. You know, all what you told about this, it's like some conflict with a Mahamudra practice. I don't know. Maybe you can tell something about it.
I will tell you about it.
Yes.
To practice Mahamudra, you don't have to have a wife or husband.
Yes, of course. But
Yeah.
we see.
I'm getting impression from you that to practice Mahamudra, you have to have a wife or husband.
Вопрос заключается в том, что практиковать Махамудру мы обязаны иметь.
But that's not necessary.
Но это не обязательное условие.
No. I don't ask about that we need to have a partner. I just talk about that it's possible to have a partner, to have a relationship, to have a sexuality, and this all are pure. You know, it's different than you. It's all pure things. You know, like to see all beings like Buddhas. You know, pure. And I don't know if I don't have attachment.
You don't have attachment?
If we have no attachment, how they practice all practice and they have a relationship, you know?
I think so. Don't worry about it now. First, you go to 3-year retreat.
But they have wives without retreat. Before liberation, after liberation, I read stories about Saraha. I read stories about Ratnamati, and Marpa have a wife, and they don't tell that we need to stop our I don't know, relationship with women, and they don't was monks. Ratnamati, teacher of Saraha.
Oh. What about Nagarjuna?
Nagarjuna was a monk.
So you follow Nagarjuna.
Right.
Don't worry.
But I don't want to see another being impure, you know? I don't want to see everything like my mind manifestation. It's all emotions like wisdoms, you know?
Right. That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
And But all what you tell now, it's like something different. To see it, it's another level. It's like it's a conflict with the Mahamudra view.
No, there's no conflict. When you have a conflict, means you have confused.
Yes.
So when you have a confusion, then you have a conflict.
Okay.
When there's no confusion, there's no conflict.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please help me to purify my confusion on this question.
Yes. Then here's all texts are going through step by step. You know.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Then we come to chapter 9, also the later part of this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
You later part of maybe in a few weeks, then will come out what you can take it.
Говорить о 9 главе в получении аватара, пробитие мудрости, тогда, возможно, ответы проявятся.
Okay, maybe it's like a teaching step by step, and after
That's
that
right. That's right, step by step. Yes.
I need to purify my attachment, and after that.
Yes. First you purify your attachment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And after that, I need to change my view.
Yes. Then, if you purify, then it will change by itself.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, because when you describe all these things, they are very terrible, you know, like you look upon the body as very filth and bones and so forth. But that creates aversion in me. So it's the opposite of attraction. So it's still binding on some level.
No, first what he's saying here is be realistic. You understand realistic?
Yeah, I understand realistic.
Be realistic. And then be with that. Don't be so contrived.
Contrived? What does it mean?
Don't be so contrived. Don't be so kind of artificialized.
I don't understand the word.
Artificialized.
Artificialized. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't artificialize your contrived nature.
Yeah, I meditate on that.
Yes, you meditate on this then.
But what I mean, if I go out here now on the street and I see everybody like bones walking around, you know, is
That's
that
right. It's just in the hall. You're walking in the city with full of bones. You're walking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Including
And
yourself. No, including yourself.
That's Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween, yes.
But still, I mean, and also by, it's some reason we are here. I mean, we came by the sexual act, for example. We are here because it's auspicious. We are here so we can practice Dharma, you know.
Yes, you can practice Dharma to free from samsara.
Isn't it?
You are practicing Dharma to free from samsara?
Yeah, but...
or to make samsara more?
We got here. Some channel got us here.
So this is the question, you know. You are practicing Dharma to free from samsara or to make samsara deeper?
No, of course I want to free from samsara.
Yeah, so this is talking about how to free from samsara.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Khenchen, I have, oh, sorry.
You can go first.
Yes.
I have a very practical question.
Okay.
So the Dharma and these teachings too are very oriented towards monastic life and also or towards, you know, renunciation and all of that. And that is the path to liberate oneself from samsara. On a practical level, for Dharma centers, it's difficult because our Dharma centers don't have a place for children too much. And the teachings themselves don't emphasize, because of the way the Dharma grew in Asia and the monastic system was so strong. I think we don't have we don't have the traditions for lay children and lay families. And this concerns me a lot because in the United States, we've had this situation in the past where we have a wonderful religious, traditions that get established, but because there's no children, those traditions, they kind of die out. We had this in our history with the Shakers, and we've had other things like that in this country. So anyway, I wonder how we should think about educating children, if you ever, or if there's any, I know some people are thinking about that, but it concerns me.
See, educating children nowadays, we have school and so in this, education is become so important, you see, in the 21st century. Education is, the purpose of education is, you see, when you have good education, it's good for you, good for the country. Because when you have good education, means then you have such a mental power to relate to the technologies, economic, you know. So that their country in the other, people are so uneducated, very poor country, you know. Since the educations are so important, so within that system, if we have an ability, there needs some sense of virtue, non-virtue, you see? Because right now, there's no virtue, non-virtues, you see? So you see, there's always, you know, how to do the business in a smart way, means how to manipulate others.
True.
You see? And if you do business this way, with this, you know, then you can communicate the law in a different way, see? And then there's no, say, they will never teach you the other's value so much. You have to talk others, oh, this will make you happier, you know, this will do good for you, you know, because you have to sell your products. But at the end of the day, you want to take full advantage of others. See? So this is where there's so much pressures each others, you know, as I mentioned, like say, the health system, you know, all this is the, what you call that, retirement, you know, how they try to sell their company, you know, how will make you happy, but in reality, they always want to take your money. That's the end of their goal. So what we need is, we need really some kind of virtue, non-virtue, good for yourself, good for others, you know, how others are important for you and how much you can serve for others. I know there's some individuals really very good. So even in the politicians, you know, some politicians, I sometimes I hear, this is my country. I want to, you know, really work for the people, you know, and I want to make my country better. I feel that's such a wonderful person, you know. But there are others who really so destructive, destroying, you know. So these things we need, what we need basic, it's nothing to the religion, as I mentioned. Like virtue, non-virtue is not religion. It's cause for peace and happiness, you know. So we need some kind of environment, some kind of way of thinking, how what makes the country or world can make better with virtuous action. It's called wholesome deeds, wholesome thoughts. And then what it makes more suffering, more kind of, you know, confusion through the non-virtue, like greeds, you know, or like these basic things. If you have opportunity and ability, these things you can do it, you know. So
Thank you.
yeah, Buddhism is not, as I mentioned, it's not just a religion. It is the whole idea is causality. So all is about causality, you see. You see, this is not something new, freshly new start, we no need. So everybody has some sense of love and compassion. Even animals have. When the mother gives the birth, no, even animals, insects, they take care their offspring because out of love, they have a love in their heart. It's inborn. It's not educated. So everyone has that kind of love and compassion. Because of that, that offspring survives. Like a bird, how the bird hatches the egg. She spent for days to hatch the egg. Then the bird, the chicken comes out. And for days, how she takes care of the chicken until it can fly. No? So that kind of love and compassion, everyone has some, even though it's limited, but that's the capital. We have to capitalize from there.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
Then we need to just expand that. That's why in the Buddhist, you say, first you think of your mother, you see, or your sister, or your brother, you know, how much you care that. Then from there you develop all others, because everyone desires for peace and happiness. And the peace and happiness comes from love and compassion, from that practice. Everyone desires to free from suffering. Suffering comes from mental afflictions, anger, hatred, all these things, you see. So that's, I see, from there, this is the reality, nature. You know, how to create a cause for peace and happiness, how to free from suffering. So we talk about the human right, but we never touch what is really human right is. Mm-hmm. Everybody can explain different way, you know, their own way. But everybody needs awareness what really love and compassion is. Yeah. Just in the basic way, you know. Then from there you start in the kindergarten, then elementary school, like that, you know. But right now in the world, all the education system don't have that. We don't have to say this is spiritual. It's nothing to the spiritual. sometimes say, oh, spiritual practice of love and compassion is spiritual. It's not really. Because everyone has some limited love and compassion. How you can say that person is a spiritual person?
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, so these are things, yeah, these are, you can think about it, and then how, you see, you can, how to communicate to others, in the group and anywhere,
Thank you.
Rinpoche,
Yes.
is maybe the purpose of Shantideva to make very clear that to have attachment to this body is in the sense useless, that we never know if we will still be alive tomorrow.
Yeah.
So if we really think about this possibility that our life can end today even, now we see it in the whole world. So many people lose their dear and near ones. Everybody is now thinking about life and death, the whole world.
Yes.
And we should now be really clear that each minute is precious, because we can practice Dharma if we have found Dharma, and then we can die, and it will go on. It's not in vanish. So this life is so, it's not forever, and this is now very clear. So Shantideva, to me, seems to be very up to date. It's like, it's just what is happening now. We have to understand this body is nothing.
It is. I just mentioned, the practice of Dharma is up to date. The culture related is maybe not up to date. Culture related is not Buddhism. It is a culture. But the teaching how to purify the mind, how to practice love and compassion and the causality, see, karma causality, bodhicitta, emptiness. These all teachings are alive. They are still fresh because they are as they are. Make sense?
Rinpoche спрашивает,
Lama, it's me again.
Making sense?
I just want to tell you know everything. I read now this part 9 of these texts, and I got all answers. I understand.
Yes.
Just first chapters, it's everything clear. I need to read more. I understand. It's like a way, step after step, and all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You are so smart.
No. Very smart text, and Dharma is smart. I know. I'm not smart. Yeah.
You are brilliant.
No.
Capturing all this.
Yes, I want to understand this. That not conflict. No conflict anymore.
Okay. Now, today we stop here. First, please take a deep breath. Inhale fully. And exhale. So then during this week, please contemplate on this. And I want to say thank you, everybody. I'm so grateful your interest and you are spending time, these Dharma teachings. They're so precious. Thank you so much. I myself, it's a long way to go, but try to share what I know. Thank you. Then please say some dedication prayers.
By this merit, having attained omniscience and defeated the enemy of wrongdoing, may I free all beings from the ocean of existence with its tumultuous waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. Just as the heroic Manjushri who knows everything as it is, and as Samantabhadra likewise did too, just so to follow all of them and train myself, I perfectly dedicate these meritorious actions. May the precious supreme bodhicitta arise in those in whom it has not arisen. Having arisen, may it not diminish, but ever expand more and more. As long as space remains, and as long as the world remains, may I too remain to elevate the suffering of the world. You who are richly endowed with the glorious wealth of Dharma knowledge, who through reflecting and meditating have actualized the self-awareness, absolute reality, enshrined with 100,000 light rays of ethical discipline of the Buddha Dharma, may you, Khenchen Ratna Dwasa, live long.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And those who need to eat lunch, please have a good lunch. Those who need to eat dinner, have a good dinner. And those who need to go to bed, have a good sleep.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Yes.
Rinpoche.
Yeah, we have quite few from Latvia, Riga.
Sweden.
Sweden.
Yes.
Yeah, you see Latvia here. Our Annie and Flora.
3 from California.